Okay.
All right. So sorry for taking the time to set up. So thank you very much. It's a privilege to be a speaker on today's webinar. And thank you to the organizers, Team Betty, Anita. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak on your platform. So as just as an Opevia did indicate, my name is Anita Ofori, the co-founder and executive director for Women for Disability Africa. And today I'm happy to be talking about the theme, be an architect of the African story and not victim of circumstances. And Justice and Lofebia have spoken quite a lot about this already. So, Manis, I know we all have an idea of what we are going to talk about today. So I won't be talking for too long. But, I just believe that at the end of today's session, we'll have a shift in mindset and we'll start writing beautiful stories of Africa. So I'll be speaking on understanding the power of narrative and deconstructing negative stereotypes, as well and empowering the African voices. How are we going to do that? So as you can see on my screen, you see a lot of people in this picture, and all these people are Africans. So when I watched the video of Samantha, I was like, oh, this really aligns to what I'm going to speak about already. You see, Africa, we have different skin colors, different tones. We all look different, but I think some of the Westerners see us as one people. But if you look at this picture right here, you see different people. We're all one people. We're all one Africa. Okay, irrespective of our color and all of that. So after the presentation, we're going to look at the power of narrative as I did indicate, the effects of stereotypes and our roles, what we are going to do to be able to change these negative stereotypes. But we've all been hearing stereotypes. Stereotypes is actually an assumption. Okay, so even if you look at the image right on the screen, you see some portraits. These portraits are what people have seen, their view, what they've viewed, what they've envisioned, and they've been able to, put it in a form of a drawing. So you see that beautiful architecture right there. It's someone's view, how somebody has seen something. So then he's able to draw a man, nicely dressed in that portrait. Okay, so that person has been able to bring out what he has seen beautifully into that craft. And you'd be surprised how much these portraits are going for. All right, so the Oxford Dictionary describes a stereotype as a fixed idea or image that many people have of a particular type of person or a thing. It could even be a place, okay, which is often not true in reality and can cause hurt and offense. And that's where we have the single stories coming up. And single stories are often not the full story. So you may also wonder what a single story is. It's like you have a full story, but then you only have a gist of 50% of the story. And because you do not know what constitutes the other 50% of it, you just hold on to it. So if it's negative, all you know it's about is a negative story. And these have negatively impacted a lot of things. And sometimes they are overly simplistic and unfair. Assuming you are at a workplace and something gets missing, two people are there, and they come back to say that, oh, I know, let me just use Opebia for an example. Oh, I know it's Opebia and it's not Justin. How do you know? Have you spoken to Opebia? You haven't. So you do not even have the true story of what is being said. And when you come to Africa, people have so many negative stereotypes, okay? Some people think that Africa is a place of the jungle, it's a place of danger, it's a place of darkness, because when you travel and you land, once you get to Kotoka and you drive up a little bit, you feel like, oh, the whole place looks so dark. So people have a perception like, I said, there's no power. In Africa, the whole place is dark. There's so much violence going on in Africa. They feel like the poverty, they feel everyone here in Africa is the poor. So when even Samantha was even talking, you could hear her saying that, like Africa, you come from Africa? She says, yes, like Africa. And the same Africa, Africa isn't a country. But Africa is a continent. We have 54 countries in Africa. So are you saying that then everyone in Africa is poor and living like, let's say, hopeless lives? No, but I mean, that is what has been perceived. That it's a jungle, we are living on a desert, and we speak, untouchable languages. Obviously, there are so many languages here in Africa. But that's the beauty of it. But it's not being perceived that way. But I'm very glad that things are changing gradually. Okay, so it's on you and I to be able to make this move. I've got some friends. There was a story about them. So they were Africans and they traveled to America and they have their children there, and they decided for so many years to bring their children to Africa to come and see where they come from, their roots. And can you imagine that just when the plane was about to land, the children started crying, making noise, crying out of their hearts. Like they're coming in danger, something is going to happen to them. The sun is too hot. They are going to die under the sun. There are so many mosquitoes in Africa. So the mosquitoes, like they are going to die. So these children were just crying out of pain. Why do you think this will happen? These are children that have never been to Africa. But it's because of how the story has been told. What have they been told about Africa? That there are so many mosquitoes here. And even when people came, they were, how do you call it? Mosquitoes bit them and they died and all of that. And the sun is too hot, it's going to burn their skin and they're going to get sick and all of that. But I mean, that's not it. We have one of the perfect weather in the continent. Just imagine, and it's also perceived that Africans to live in rural areas, we practice strange customs, and we fight, some fights that we fight are not kind of baseless, okay, and all these, have direct negative effects on us. So this is just an example for education. When you just even type news in Africa, okay. So looking at the image to your left, you see that they're talking about farming in Africa, corruption, where you see an image of a man holding money. And the next image there is about Senegal, where they are talking about political issues, and you look at the other side, the image to my right, and they are like news. You even read it and you want to know how, you can even use your emotions to help. People are showing off the beauty of London Eye. So many like nice things you can just imagine. But Africa, when you type, is nothing. Even when you Google life in Africa, you can just do it as we speak and just try that as you see a lot of negative things. But you Google life in America and oh my goodness, you see the beauty, what they stand for, their unity, and all of that. Hope I can be heard. Did I see something? Okay, so some of the factors that contribute to all this is one, media representation. Okay, the stories that denominate in our media and online often portray Africa in a negative light. So what are we going to do about it? What's the media saying about it? How are we going to tell our story? and you look at the public perception, the public surveys and polls that have reviewed that many people around the world have negative stereotypes about Africa, and it's true. So the thing is, it's not like stereotypes is isn't true, but as we said, they are like single stories. They are half stories that are being told and not the full story. Or you have gender stereotypes where people's perception is that women are skewed to a particular job. Let's say when it comes to the traditional view, they agree that women are caregivers and are solely responsible for doing all of that. And it doesn't affect that of a man, but a male wants to go for a training. It's so easy for him to just, go move around. But the woman is like, you have to be home. You have to do so many things. You have to take care of the house. You have to do the cooking and all of that. And this goes a long way to affect us because it doesn't help us even build capacity. Things that we can actually do, but we forget to look up to that. Look at Yasan and she was an African, she's a Ghanaian. But we're not looking at all these, and now we look at just one aspect of it. And actually, it really affects us, and it doesn't make us, progress and pursue even some careers. Okay. And even when you want to tell your children about, you want to take your children to Disneyland, I'm telling you that do not sleep. They will pursue you, will keep worrying you. So you actually take them to Disneyland because they are eager to go. They can't wait. I'm telling you, even if you promise them that, in the next 4 months, or I'm going to take you to Disney, I'm telling you that they'll get their things packed by tomorrow. But look at these children coming down to Africa to come and view Africa, and they are quiet. They just do not even want to. So what are we saying? And these stereotypes limit our potentials, okay? Because it creates perspective that puts people in a box. It limits our opportunities. Justification of discrimination. That's when discrimination starts coming in. So you get to see racial stereotypes that are being used to even deny people certain jobs. Why? Because they feel you are black. As long as once they see, they think maybe you are unintelligent, you're not intelligent, or you cannot do anything. But there are so many Africans that are inventing great, beautiful things. All right, we have some beautiful people. There's this lady, Dr. Mary Aisi. She's a Ghanaian. She actually invented the anti-malaria drug. And my problem here is that we have all these people. We have Nzabi Mati from Kenya, and she invented the bricks made from recycled plastic. And I don't know, but how many of you have heard these people, have heard them? These are people doing marvelous things, but we are not even hearing of them. But once you talk about Facebook, everybody knows who Facebook. Talk about Apple, everybody knows who, but there are so many Africans that are coming up with most of these apps, creating things, inventing, but we are not hearing of them. Okay, and also reduce empathy and understanding. So one thing, they only know of the negative, or only half of the story is being told. It's like, that says they can't have that empathy, they can't have that feeling. They don't seek to even understand that. Why is this happening? Why is there so much, maybe flooding in Africa? Why is this like what? So what's the real issue, so that they can digest and understand to be able to help us. It creates tension and conflict. Okay, so stereotypes can create division, tension between different group of people, and you even be so surprised that right here in Africa, we are feeling it. Okay, look at how it's so difficult to even travel within Africa, honestly speaking, and even get to a border. And you are being treated like a stranger. But we are African. You move right from, let's say, from Ghana to Cote d'Ivoire or to Benin, Burkina Faso, and you face this. Look at how sometimes you can be humiliated right at the border. It's because of kind of perception that has created in our minds for a very long time. Okay, and this creates inaccurate perception of the reality because actually at the end of the day, it's not true. So now, how do we deconstruct these negative stereotypes and empower the African voices? You and I have a role to play because we need to celebrate our achievements. There are most of the times where we achieve little milestone and we do not want to celebrate it because we are thinking of what people will say, what people is going to say about us. Oh, they may think that I'm too known. Hey, you don't have to think that way. Once you're able to celebrate your achievements, you inspire somebody. Somebody may not know you directly, but maybe because of your online visibility, the person has read about you. Oh, you were able to do this and this. It gives me hope that I can also do it. But if you do not celebrate your achievement and you hide it, how will I know? That's all. Opemi has been able to do this. Even look at BNC. Look at the beautiful platform Betty has been able to put up here. The beautiful stories that are coming up. We're able to go to the platforms and be able to let you be able to come up. Oh, I've been able to do this. I've been able to do this for the UN woman. I go and see that getting up like, oh, I can also do this. It's so possible. Assuming Betty did not start this initiative, assuming Betty did not put into some of her work, how will we be able to, celebrate? How will we be able to get inspired? Many people, I believe, are doing extremely well, but we fail to celebrate our achievements. Never think it's too little. Just put it out there. You can even seek for opportunities where you can even get speaking engagement, where you can also tell your story. It's all about storytelling. And our storytelling has become a very vital part of our life because you get to learn from what people have been through. Then you can also use that to advise or to model your life. Even now, organizations that are using storytelling, they come and they ask you for feedback. You think feedback is not storytelling? It's a storytelling. Organizations need feedback to be able to to be able to close the gaps. And I'm telling you that all these are storytelling because they would want to know how have we been able to serve you properly. Then you start telling the story. People are like, oh, you're able to do A because you come in early, because you're able to do B. And also, we're able to do this together. And, maybe the customer is delighted, he feels fulfilled. And I mean, they are all achievements that needs to be celebrated. And amplify diverse voices. Okay, so right here in Africa, as I did indicate, we have 54 countries. Some people are thinking Africa is just one country, but it's 54 countries. Just imagine having voices from all over these countries coming together to collaborate, to amplify the voices of African stories from each country, from Cameroon, from Uganda, from Kenya, from South Africa, from Ghana, from Zimbabwe, Mauritius, Botswana. Just imagine what's going to happen. Just imagine. Just think about it. Everybody's speaking beautifully about Africa, how they've been able to invent something, how we've been able to overcome a challenge, and it's out there. I'm telling you that this is going to be so powerful that the negative stereotype is going to be changed. So we need to have diverse voices speaking of this. We also need to educate ourselves. Education is very key because without education, I'm telling you that it's going to be difficult. It's going to be so difficult. I was engaging one leader of a school, and she was actually transferred from a school to a new school where she was, and she was telling me that, Anita, see, when I'm talking to the people here, she thought she's talking to aliens. Why? Like, she has so much exposure, she's well educated, and she gets into the school, and these group of teachers, because they haven't had so much exposure, they are stick to just one way of doing things. Okay, so now for them to learn new things is becoming difficult. So she said she has to consistently, keep covering on things, issues for them to have a change in mindset. So it's up to you and I to educate ourselves. Just like this platform, Be Inspired is a good platform. Today we are all here to learn. I'm also here to learn from other speakers, from you, the audience, participants on the group. Your contribution. And once we are able to learn and educate ourselves, just imagine, it's like we become lights, we're able to shine wherever we go so that people also see the light that is in us. And they also adopt it and they keep educating each other. At the end of the day, we'll have a community where it is easy to communicate with understanding. Where everyone gets the vision and understands the mission as well. Okay, so we need to educate ourselves. And I keep saying that learning is continuous. Learning is like a journey. We learn, we relearn to learn. Because day in, day out, the world is changing. The world is dynamic. It's not static. If it was static, I'm telling you that I'm sure we even have all these technologies working in today. Look at us on Zoom having meetings. We have people from different countries all together. But because of education, because things are changing rapidly, we are able to adjust. So that's what is happening. We need to adjust, we need to learn, we need to unlearn and relearn to be able to educate others as well. And another huge thing is that we need to support the African media. We need to support the African media because obviously, if people, or a lot of people have negative stereotypes about Africa, I'm telling you that it's about the news that is being said about Africa. It's about what is being portrayed on our media, on our news, on our social media, what is being said. Okay, because if 100 years ago, things were done differently in Africa, it's never the same here now. What are we portraying? And one thing that Women for Sustainability is doing is how to educate volunteers to be able to contribute to Wikipedia, because we need to write about our stories, and these are platforms where we can write our stories, where we can write the African stories. You go to a place like Antarctica where nobody lives there, but just look at it and see. So much is being written about Antarctica where there are no human beings there. But what is being written about Africa? We need to write our stories. There are so many people, so many women, so many amazing people doing so much in Africa. Look at Dr. Mary Ayisi, Dr. Rebecca, and Coach Cameroon. Pardon me for my voice, okay? I've got some quotes. I'm struggling a bit, but I should be fine. And these stories are not being said about them. They're not being written. They're not being documented. We are not documenting what we do. We are not even publishing it. Because at the end of the day as well, even Wikipedia needs these references to back the stories that are being said. So one way we can also support the African story is to volunteer for Wikipedia and write, document. Okay, let's contribute to our social media. Let's not put on the negative things out there. So many beautiful things about Africa that can actually sell Africa. It's a very beautiful place. Look at our weather. We have one of the best weather. Taking from January to December. I'm telling you, like you can live and survive. But you go to other parts, you go to Europe, you go to America, and oh my goodness, it's so cold that early in the morning and you don't even want to wake up to go to work, but you need to pass through the snow and cold. Now, lately, you even Google, you go to YouTube, so much is being said about Canada and other parts. Yes, beautiful stories. Beautiful stories. Niagara Falls, you go to Ontario and it's there. So many people travel from Africa to go and watch Niagara. But actually, how many people travel to come and watch Victoria Falls? How many? Very few. Because our stories are not being said. We are not writing all these beautiful stories about Africa. If not in Akaja, how many people will even come and say they are coming to watch? But we are so much in a hurry, to go and look at O2 Arena. We can't even wait to get to, the stadiums in United Kingdom just to watch a football match. But right here in Africa, we are having African games actually going on. And how many of us have taken time to even go and support and experience right about this? Look at the beautiful stadium that is being put up at the University of Ghana. We need to support our own. And we also need to advocate for equity. Chimamanda Ngozi said that the single stories create stereotypes, and the problem with stereotypes is not that they are untrue, but they are incomplete. They make one story becomes the only story. What is your story? What are you saying about Africa? What is your perception about Africa? What have you heard? If you've heard something, you have the facts, you can also write your perception about it. But you go to social media and, we are not in a haste to show pictures about it. We are not feeling too proud about being in Africa. Right here in Africa, I can challenge you and let you know that there's so much opportunity, so many things you can do. I was talking to a young lady and she was like, oh, I'm waiting to actually get to America and I'll become a YouTuber. Hey, because she feels she's going to get beautiful pictures, nice background too. I was like, why don't you start right here? She's like, oh no, this place, it's not beautiful. I was like, are you sure this place is not beautiful? Have you been to Aqua Safari? Have you been to all these beautiful places? You haven't. But look at the mindset right here in Africa. We need a shift in our mindset. Look at this beautiful picture. The first picture right here is Ghana. It's a very beautiful place. Look at Cote d'Ivoire. A very beautiful place. The last time I went there, road so beautiful. It's like, oh my God, is this Africa? Like Africa, let me take some answers. Like Africa. Africa is beautiful. Look at South Africa right there. Very beautiful. And you can even see trees. Have you seen any human being hanging on the tree? Look at the kind of buildings we are living in there. A friend comes from London and another friend had to pick him up. And when the guy from London got to Ghana, a friend was having his beautiful ride. He was like, is this your car? Yes, this is my car. He drove and got to his home. He was like, Kwame, is this your home? He says, yes, this is my home. He's like, wow, I can't believe this. I'm here. You've been able to build this. It's a beautiful place. And there was a British novelist who wrote this book, Hearts in Darkness. And if you read this book, it actually portrayed Africa as a dark place, mysterious, salvage place, with the African character depicting primitive and lacking agency. As I mentioned, things have changed, and you all know that books live. Anyone can equally go and look up for this book and will still have some negative stereotypes. We need to write. We need to write to be able to change the narrative. stories matter. Stories is very important. As one thing we also do in Women for Sustainability is also amplify the voices of women who are doing great and awesome things around areas of sustainability and climate change. Like what Betty is doing, we need to amplify the voices of Africans. And our story is very important, okay, because many stories matter. So we need many stories to be said. Stories have been used, for so many things. It's maligns, portrays negative views, people have negative perception, but stories can also be used to empower. We need stories to empower. What are we saying? How are we telling our stories? We need all these to be able to change these negative stereotypes that we are facing today. I can tell you that stories can break the dignity of the people, but stories can also repair that broken dignity. So your story matters, my story matters, our story matters. Thank you very much. So I'll be here. Ophelia Justice. I don't know if we'll have time for questions and answers, but once again, thank you so much for the opportunity to have talked on today's webinar. And I believe that from today, we're all going to have a shift in our mindset. Let's celebrate, let's tell our story beautifully. Let's showcase Africa. Okay, because Africa is home. This is where we belong to. So let's tell our stories. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Anita. That was powerful. Honestly, I'm sitting here and I'm really enjoying your presentation. Please, let's have some reactions in the chat box. I see people say brilliant presentation. Some are giving a clap. Thank you so much. So we are not taking questions now. We will do that at the end of the session, the webinar, and then we'll have the questions. But thank you. Like I said, today is going to be powerful and mind shifting. And I think Ms. Anita has just done justice to that. But I want to ask a few things or touch on a few things. You said something about the media representation of the African story. And I think, I don't know, but has the media failed us in telling our stories? Is it a reason why now individuals and organizations are taking it upon themselves to be educating the world and the public and telling the African story? Do you think the media has failed us in a way, or they've not gotten the needed support to put Africa out there?
Okay, Ophelia, so thank you. I wouldn't want to say that the media has failed us, because at the end of the day, it is not the sole responsibility of those in media to be able to tell our stories. It depends solely on you and I to be able to make that move, to be able to tell our stories. Yes, media is very key, but just imagine if we are also playing our role. Okay, the media be so interested in what we are doing. You are doing a beautiful project, let it be inspired. You think the media will not follow you? Betty was at this place in Cape Coast, this place, the village that lives on the river in
Zulezu.
Zulezu. You think the media will not follow you there? How are we saying the story? So me, honestly, I won't say that media is not doing their job well or not. Mm-hmm. You and I need to be proactive, bring them along to be able to follow us, tell these stories. Okay, that inspires, that brings about change. You see a lot of Africans, go on YouTube right now. Go on, you see lots of Africans talking about Canada, US, come to like on a rate that you will not see, I don't think I've seen quite a number of people talking that how to migrate to Africa.
Wow.
That's how many videos? Yes, how many? But this is a continent where there's so much opportunities right here, so much to do. And when they both outside the country rather come to Ethiopia, they rather do the video that people should rather come. Just like they are waiting for others to come and do. But we need to showcase, what we have. So it is our responsibility. The media is doing their part, but we need to pull them along and to direct them. Okay. Thank you.
I hope you are inspired, because we are. Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe to all our social media channels. It's displayed on the screen, and don't forget to press that notification bell to receive updates when they come by. It's Visa.